This is Duggernaut from Paranaut Gaming. I tried to make a Sparrow build deck a couple of weeks ago. It came out 2 hours long with a 12-minute video right in the middle of it, so I deleted it and decided to make another one because that obviously wasn't what I wanted. But I have followed through on the promise that I made, and I will be making a Sparrow build deck. I'll probably be making another one later as well. But I'm going to start off with my Robin Hood Rat deck right now. So for this deck, I am all power and crit with a little bit of attack speed in it. I found out a little bit of attack speed, which helps you fire a little bit faster and more often, makes up for the fact that you're not doing quite as much damage as somebody who goes just nothing but power and crit. You get more shots out quicker. But when I start this deck, I start with the prime card Archmages, which gives me 30 power. That kind of makes up for it right there if you get Orb Prime, or if you steal it from the enemy team by shooting it through a wall, which is always hilarious. But when I start the game, I start off with 2 strike tokens and a mana potion. After that, I'll go over to a Shaman's Drink. But if you find yourself using a lot more abilities early game than you normally would, it's good to have that backup one just to keep you in the game longer and not having to go back for mana more often. Now, you always want to start off with the mana potion, because the mana potion, as you'll see right here, gives you 3.8 mana regen for 15 seconds. And the Shaman's Drink gives you 2.28 plus 0.3 times player level mana regen for 15 seconds. So after level 3, the Shaman's Drink is more powerful than the mana potion. But that's why you start off with the mana potion rather than the Shaman's Drink, and if you want to swap it out later, that's what I usually do myself. Now after that, and the first card I get is the Windcarver Blade. Now the Windcarver Blade gives you 6 power and 5.5 attack speed starting out. And you'll notice that I put a 2-point attack speed card in here along with my power cards. And for my Whirling Wand, which is what I get right after that, I have a 2-point power card along with my attack speed cards. I swap it up a little bit, put some attack speed in the Windcarver Blade and some power in the Whirling Wand, just so that when I start off on the Windcarver Blade, I get a little bit extra attack speed out of it. And I don't lose any power or attack speed overall if I just put attack speed in the Whirling Wand and just power into the Windcarver Blade. It's good to mix it up a little bit. Also, you'll notice that for all of my cards in here, I have 3-point cards, and I have a 2, a 2, and a 3. That gives me 10 card points total for each card that I put out and I play. The reason that's important is you only get 60 card points total throughout a game, so you have to count your card points, because if you have a Brawler's Ward with all 3-point power cards, it's going to throw off your numbers, and then the rest of them are 10-point cards. You're not going to have enough to finish off one of your cards. And the reason that's such a big deal, say look at Brawler's Ward. Fully upgraded bonus gives you 6 power. You have to have 3 cards fully upgraded to be able to get that fully upgraded bonus, and that's a really big thing for some of these cards. Like a Blade of Gore, for instance. Fully upgraded bonus doubles your crit. Not your crit chance, your crit power. So if you look through my deck, I've got about 52% crit chance in this total. So every other hit, I'm reliably critting. And every other hit, I'll be doing double what I normally would on crit. But we'll get to that later. Now, Windcarver Blade is what I start off with. 2-point power, 2-point attack speed, and a 3-point power. After that, it's up to you on whether or not you want to go for Spear the Rift Hunter or Whirling Wand. I usually go with Whirling Wand because crit's not really a big game thing until late game when you're probably about level 9 or 10. At that point, you should have both of these fully upgraded, and then you can go towards Spear the Rift Hunter and Rift Mage's Scepter. Although at that point, level 9 or 10 is when you'll see both teams start going between lanes a lot more often. So it might be better to go in and get your Shadow Ward. Now you'll notice I don't start off with a Scout Ward. I mean, it's useful, but at the same time, you're going to get more use out of more power and being able to use your abilities more often. So there's usually no point in getting a Scout Ward unless you're a support, and obviously Sparrow's not a support, she's a carry. So I usually go for the Shadow Ward, and I put all power into it. You don't have to pick a Brawler's Ward, you can pick a Sage's Ward or any of those ones, as long as you get one with power to it, because that's what you're going for as a carry. More damage the better. And then after that, it's between Spear the Rift Hunter and Rift Mage's Scepter. You'll notice my Rift Mage's Scepter, it's nothing but crit chance. That's the one card that I just said, you know what, screw it, I'm going nothing but crit chance, and I already get 18 power from it anyway, so it's not too much of a loss. Sparrow the Rift Hunter is where I get a little bit of crit chance, but the fully upgraded bonus gives me 8% crit chance. So I still get plenty of crit chance out of this, but I can put almost nothing but power into it. Whereas Rift Mage's Scepter, my fully upgraded bonus gives me 12 power. So it's kind of like Windcarver Blade and Whirling Wand, where I get a little bit of both out of each one. So it's not too bad. And obviously, once I'm at the end game and I've got all these other cards, I'll usually go for Blade of Agora. Nothing but power into it. You know, this is a 6-point card. There are a few cards in all the decks that can give you a 100% crit chance bonus. So depending on how you play your character, you can definitely pick another one. You don't have to be Blade of Agora. It can be Blast Harness if you're playing a Fury character, or various other cards. Blast Harness will give you attack speed. Blade of Agora gives me power, which is what I'm going for on this one. And let's scroll down to the bottom and we'll look at some of the other ones. Let's see. Oh, see, there's another one, Agoran Scepter. It's a mana card with 100% crit bonus. So if you're a character who uses a lot of mana for your abilities, such as Countess, she's all burst damage. So if you put some mana into that, you're not going to use quite as much, and you can stay in the game a little bit longer. See if there's any other ones. Seeds of the Flood, it's a growth card. Gives you health regen, gives you a 100% crit chance bonus. It's not really much other ones up here, but oh, Sword of the Altar, 2.5 lifesteal. That's a really good one for crit chance bonus as well, just because you're doing damage, you're stealing their life, and you're pretty much just murdering people. But after I've got all those up, you'll notice I have 2 extra cards in here, Fist of Kings and Touch of Thieves. So if I find late game that I'm dying more often than I'd like, sometimes I'll go for Touch of Thieves, which gives me 20 lifesteal. So I might want to get rid of Whirling Wand. Gets rid of some of my attack speed, but I don't lose too much power, and I still have all of that lifesteal that it gives from me. Lifesteal is really good if you're wanting to go solo Orb Prime. You can solo Orb Prime with Sparrow, but you got to have a lot of lifesteal on her. It's usually not worth it, because you'll probably either die or they'll come in and steal it from you at the last second and kill you in the process. Or you could go for Fist of Kings. Like I said, you can get rid of Whirling Wand. So attack speed is nice, just a little bit of it, but it's not necessary for her, because you're all more about power than you are attack speed in this particular deck. I'll be putting out another deck later, which is almost all attack speed, a little bit of power, and a little bit of lifesteal. Well, it's all attack speed and power with a little bit of lifesteal. There's no crit chance in that other deck. It's literally just to machine gun out arrows at people's faces, and it works pretty well. The Fist of Kings gives you 32 basic pin. 32 basic pin's a lot. There's a lot of tanky characters, and usually it's the offlaner, so you'll be facing enemy team offlaner. Could be Steel or Greystone or various other tanky characters who would be going for basic armor just because they know they're going to be facing a carry who does basic damage. That's why Fist of Kings is so important, because you usually that 32 basic pen and 180 health. That's the great thing about all these 10-point cards at the very end. Each one gives you 180 health. So it gives you a little bit, just a tiny little bit more extra survivability, and it could be the difference between life and death too in this game. I've definitely gotten away from a team fight with less than 10 health left and made it back to my base. So it is possible that this card could save your life or help you take somebody else's. And that's what matters in the end. Who's alive and who's not. So the only reason I didn't put Hand of Prophets in here is it's ability pin. She's a basic damage carry. There's no point in putting ability pin. But basic pin is going to be very useful for her. And you have to remember, lifesteal only applies towards basic attacks. It says it right there, steals health from enemies when landing a basic attack and greatly increases health. So there are other cards in the game. We've only found one so far that gives you Spell Vamp. This one right here. It's a universal card, so you can use it on any character, but heal for 20% of ability damage dealt to enemy heroes and 5% against enemy minions. So remember, if you're playing an ability type character, you will not get lifesteal off of ability damage, but you will get it off of basic damage. So depending on how you want to play your character, maybe how the game is going late game, you might want to put one of these in versus one of these other cards. You may even decide, hey, I'm not really landing as many crits as I would like. You can get rid of Blade of Agora. That one I wouldn't recommend, just because at this point in the deck, you've put so much time into getting your crit chance up. That is what most of your damage is coming from. And remember, crit damage is basic damage, because you can only crit on basic attacks. So you will get extra lifesteal off of that. So if you're looking to survive a little bit longer, go for Touch of Thieves. If you're just murking the enemy team over and over again, but there's that one character who's got a lot of armor on, go for Fist of Kings, Vice, Touch of Thieves. It all depends on how you want to play. Alright, and that's it for me for this little deck building guide. I will be putting out another one soon. It's going to be my Sparrow Quick Steel deck, which is all attack speed, power, and lifesteal. Alright, thank you for watching.